avec l'Eala. En ce qui concerne la tenue sur le sol burundais des présentes assises, nous rassurons à nos homologues parlementaires de l'Eala que nous accordons la plus grande attention que nous souhaitons plein succès à la première réunion de la première session de la 5e Assemblée de l'Assemblée législative de la communauté est-africaine. Que Dieu vous garde. Nous vous remercions.
Your Excellency, Evariste Ndayishimiye, President of the Republic of Burundi and the Chairperson of the Summit of the EAC Head of States, Right Honorable Gelas Ndabirabe, Speaker of the National Assembly of Burundi, Honorable Chairperson of the EAC Council of Ministers and members of the EAC Council, senior government officials in attendance, Honorable Dr. Peter Matuki, the Secretary General of the East African Community, Honorable members of East African Ladies Assembly and the National Assembly of reports. Your Excellency, since its inauguration in December 2022, the 50th Assembly has embarked on its mandate with renewed spirit. The inauguration also served as an opportunity to bring on board our brothers and sisters from the Democratic Republic of Congo, which sent 9 members of parliament to join us. Along with this new addition came the need to urgently amend the treaty to introduce French as a language of the East African community. The Assembly is, however, mindful that the 21st Summit of EAC Head of State adopted Kiswahili and French as official languages of the community. It is also imperative that all efforts are made to ensure that the use of these two languages becomes a reality. Your Excellency, I want to acknowledge, through your leadership, the strong leading role being played by the Republic of Burundi in supporting peace missions on the continent, particularly in Somalia, Central African Republic, and now in DRC. I salute you as the chairperson of the EAC Summit for your bold efforts in supporting the African Union mandated Nairobi peace process in restoring peace in DRC. Your efforts have not gone unnoticed. Indeed, have been proven as good tests of our region's resilience and ability to respond to violence in the region. Through you, the Assembly would like to see the EAC Head of State continue to seek a permanent solution to the conflict of the Republic of Congo. Your Excellency, in this exciting time of integration, we remain committed to maintaining, if not improving, the speed at which integration has been taking place. We want to thank you as our chair of the summit for the speed at which you are steering the implementation of the customs union, the common market, as we look forward to the conclusion of the Monetary Union Institute and the political federation. Your Excellency, before I conclude, allow me to introduce my colleagues, Member of Parliament of Eala. I'll be calling the chapters and they'll be standing up and just salute. Let's start by Chapter 1, DRC. Thank you. Burundi chapter. Thank you. Kenya chapter. Thank you. Rwanda chapter. Thank you. South Sudan chapter. Thank you. Uganda chapter. And Tanzania chapter. Thank you. Your Excellency, allow me to point out a few of the challenges we face as East Africa. One is the financing mechanism, which has limited funding the EAC, the delayed autonomy of Eala and court, distribution of organs and institutions, delay in amending the treaty. We seek your support. We seek your support to discuss the matters with your colleagues. Lastly, Your Excellency, I wish on behalf of the Assembly to extend our appreciation to you and your government for continuing to steer the Republic of Burundi to greater heights. Burundi is now a peaceful country. May I also congratulate the Republic of Burundi for sending to Eala a team of dedicated and committed members. Without taking up more time, it is now my great pleasure and honor to welcome Your Excellency to address this August Assembly today, Tuesday, 28th March 2023. I thank you for your kind attention.
The Right Honorable Joseph Ntakarutimana, Speaker of East African Legislative Assembly, the Right Honorable Daniel Geraze Ndabirabe, President of National Assembly, Honorable members of Bureau of the National Assembly and the Senate of Burundi, Your Excellency Emerantine Kanyana, Ombudsman of the Republic of Burundi, Your Excellency Sylvestre Ntibantunganya, former Head of the State of Burundi, Honorable Member of the East African Legislative Assembly, Honorables, Member of Burundi National Assembly and the Senate, Honorable Minister of East African Community Affairs, Youth, Sport, and the Culture of the Republic of Burundi, and the Chairperson of the Council of Ministers, Honorable Minister and the senior government officials, Your Excellency Dr. Peter Matuki, Secretary General of East African Community, Your Lordship, the Chief of Justice, Your Excellencies, Ambassadors, and the High Commission, and member of Diplomatic Corps, distinguished invited guests, member of press, ladies and gentlemen, all protocol observed. First of all, let me thank Almighty God who has granted us this beautiful day and who has allowed us this sitting of the East African Legislative Assembly taking place in Bujumbura, Republic of Burundi. Excellencies, I'm very pleased to address this assembly this morning at the official opening of the third meeting of the first session of the 5th East African Legislative Assembly to take place as from the 26th March to 7 April 2023. On behalf of the people and the government of the Republic of Burundi, and on my own behalf, I cordially welcome you to Bujumbura, economic capital of Burundi. I wish you to feel at home and enjoy the beauty and the hospitality of our country during your stay here in Bujumbura. I wish as well to extend my warm congratulations to the East African Legislative Assembly Speaker and the members upon your election to the 5th East African Legislative Assembly and for the successful swearing-in ceremony. Honorable Speaker, honorable members, Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to highly appreciate the role of East African Legislative Assembly in facilitating the integration process and the ownership of decisions taken within the community. The East African Legislative Assembly has a cardinal function in the progress of community objectives that encompasses the legislative, representative, and oversight mandate. In this respect, the achievement made so far would not have been possible without an understanding, vision, and leadership of the members of the East African Legislative Assembly. New developments have emerged since Eala last visited Burundi in 2016 during its plenary. East African Legislative Assembly has grown bigger as South Sudan and DRC became full member of East African Community. In addition to that, other countries have already expressed the will to integrate our community, in particular Somalia, which has already made the official request. We can rejoice that East African community is expanding for the better future of our community. During the last 10 years, tremendous achievements have been made in terms of representing all our people, legislating, planning the East African Community Program and the budget, providing oversight in many East African community activities, as well as strengthening the bonds between the East African Legislative Assembly and the national parliaments of the East African Community partner states. Along the same line, we appreciate that the Honorable Speaker has developed a good work method for implementing the treaty establishing the East African Community. Honorable Speaker, honorable members, excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Since its creation, the East African Community makes constant progress. However, there is still ample room for improvement. There is a need for more commitment and action, for better integration, peace, stability, and especially focusing more on result-based program and management. Many issues are still to be solved and many challenges to be addressed And as you know, the voice of an elected people's representative plays a key role. We are confident that together we shall bring the East African community closer to the people, and that the East African citizens will definitely, through their direct involvement, benefit from and reap the fruit of regional integration. There are key important areas which East African community can improve to support summit initiative and in timely manner, such as A, the summit initiative on peace and security in DRC, and ultimately in our East African partners. In this regard, I'd like to thank all the head of states of East African community member states who are committed to help East DRC to recover peace. And also, I congratulate the former President Uhuru, who is working very hard so that we can recover peace in East Africa, in East DRC. The summit initiative is B, the summit initiative on alternative funding for the East African community. C, the summit initiative on adopting French and Swahili as the alternate official language of the community alongside English. D, summit initiative on the free movement of goods, services, and people, and work to eliminate or reduce no-tariff barriers which affect trade and leads to trade imbalance amongst our partner states. E, summit initiative on how to enhance cross-border security. F, summit initiative on East African community infrastructures, summit and communique. J, summit initiative on protection of ASC natural resources such as minerals, oil, and its transportation within the region. H, summit initiative on poverty eradication, among others. Excellencies, we must work hard to address factors that limit or constrain the construction of a larger East African community internal market in order to increase the share in global trade and economy. This, however, calls for constant oversight of the East African project program and policies. For this to effectively happen and in a timely manner, East African Legislative Assembly, being the elected representatives institution amongst organs and institutions of the community that need to be fully facilitated to play its oversight role for both the Council of Ministers and the Secretary General in order to make sound recommendations. The Council of Ministers should have required resources to allow for the committees to have sufficient days of work and to fund activities such as public hearings, consideration of key integration bills, and sensitization activities. The Council of Ministers and the Secretary General should be available too for regular updates on progress made so that the members can make informed recommendations. Outreach and sensitization is important for visibility and better understanding of the community, because it takes East African community to citizens, and this can even be more effective and efficient if it is done together with national parliaments. This will definitely require more resources for the East African Legislative Assembly to operate. Honorable speakers, honorable members, excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Honored by the last African Union Heads of State Summit to be the champion of the Youth, Peace and Security Program of the African Union, it is appropriate for me to record that we cannot achieve our development objectives without centering our strategies on youth, who constitute the largest part of the population of our driving force. The empowerment of youth impacts the stabilization of peace, because there is no peace when there is no bread. We must invest in youth by creating the bright future from now. As a member of East African Legislative Assembly, you are very qualified to help us to sensitize and mobilize East Africans, the regional private sectors, and civil society to work for peace, which is a prerequisite for investment and socio-economic development. For 2 weeks, this third meeting is the first session of the 5th East African Legislative Assembly. Will be sitting on a heavy agenda. I am informed that this session shall deliberate both in the plenary and in standing committees. We shall spare no effort to play our role in order to achieve the objectives of the East African community. Excellencies, before I conclude, I wish to reiterate Burundi's commitment to East African community for integration for a united, peaceful, and prosperous region. With this remark, it is now my pleasure to now declare that the third meeting of the first session of 5th Assembly is officially opened. I wish you fruitful deliberations and hope that next sittings will come back to Burundi. Long life to the East African community, long life to East African Legislative Assembly. God bless you. Asante sana.
We'll proceed to item number 4 on the order paper. It will be a vote of thanks to His Excellency.
Honorable Ambassador Fatuma Ndangiza.
Your Excellency Evariste Ndayishimiye, the President of the Republic of Burundi and the Chairperson of the EAC Summit of Heads of State. The Right Honorable Gelasi Daniel Ndabireba, the Speaker of the National Assembly of Burundi, honorable members of the Bureau of the Senate of the National Assembly and the National Assembly of Burundi, the Right Honorable Speaker of the East African Legislative Assembly, Honorable Dr. Ezekiel Nibigira, Chairperson, EAC Council of Ministers, Honorable Peter Mathuki, Secretary General of the East African Community, Honorable members of the Burundi National Assembly, His Excellency Silvestre Ntibantunganya, the former President of the Republic of Burundi, Her Excellency Ombudsperson of the Republic of Burundi, Honorable and Your Excellency, thank you for appointing a lady. We are proud that there are so many ladies to high position in the Republic of Burundi. Honorable cabinet members of Burundi and senior government officials, honorable colleague members of Eala, honorable former members of Eala, Fourth Assembly, members of the diplomatic and international organizations, Your Lordship, the Chief Justice, members of the civil society, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. Assalamu alaikum. Habari ya asubuhi au ya mchana. Na mahoro bavandimwe b'u Burundi. I would like to request my brothers and sisters from Eala, after the very brilliant speech by His Excellency the President that addressed most of the issues that affect the Assembly, I would like to request you to give him another warm applause. Thank you very much. On behalf of the members of the East African Legislative Assembly, I wish to express our profound gratitude to His Excellency Evariste Ndayishimiye, the President of the Republic of Burundi and Chairperson of the Summit of the EAC Heads of State, for gracing this historic occasion despite your busy state duties. We also extend our appreciation to the government of Burundi for hosting the first plenary of Eala 5 and for the warm hospitality accorded to us since we arrived in this beautiful city of Bujumbura. On a special note, I would like to thank the Parliament of Burundi for the existing cordial relations with Eala and for availing its premises to Eala so that we can discharge our duties while we are here in Bujumbura. I wish to congratulate you, Your Excellency, for your steward leadership ever since you were elected to chair the EAC Heads of Summit. Your Excellency, your focus on peace and security and regional cooperation, in particular, following up and ensuring that there is stability in the Eastern DRC, is a very important initiative that has to be commended. We also thank you, Your Excellency, for also promoting regional cooperation, which is critical to good neighborliness, and in particular, coming from the Republic of Rwanda, I know what it means, because your commitment to reviving, together with your brother, His Excellency President Kagame of Rwanda, to ensure that we normalize relations, has now allowed the borders like Ruhwa to open, and allowing the free movement of our people and doing business in the region. So, Your Excellency, we really thank you for the bold initiative. The recent election of Burundi to the AU Peace and Security Council, your appointment as the AU champion for youth, peace, and security agenda in Africa, just to mention but a few, are testimonies of your commitment to peace and prosperity of Africa based on inclusive and sustainable development. Under your visionary leadership, Burundi is dedicated to socio-economic transformation, including in areas such as agriculture, domestic and infrastructure development, including the promotion of the central standard gauge railway that runs from Dar es Salaam, goes through up to Isaka, connecting Rwanda, but also connecting Burundi through Msongati, and later DRC. And Excellency, we really commend you for this initiative, because infrastructure is critical to connecting our peoples to do trade in the region. Your Excellency, Eala, as people's representatives, by holding plenary session in our partner states, and this time around in Burundi, accords us an opportunity to interact with citizens and various stakeholders, and bringing the assembly and the community closer to citizens. It also reminds us about our brotherhood and creates bonds of friendship and solidarity in the spirit of our motto, one people, one destiny. We believe that what binds us as East Africans is far greater than what differentiates us. Here, when you look at the ladies from Burundi wearing umushanana and the ladies from Rwanda, it's difficult to know who is who. And when you are in the Republic of South Sudan, they also wear umushanana. But I also know that in the parts of Ankole, in the western part of Uganda, but also in Kabale, women there also wear umushanana. So this shows really that you are one people. It's a question of boundaries that were put there by the colonialists, but we are one people, and through EAC integration, we need to rediscover who we are and demystify the division. We know that being here, Your Excellency, is key to promoting our unity and diversity as we strive for attaining EAC vision of a united, secure, peaceful, and prosperous community. It is also important to note that the East African community, just like other regional economic communities, are building blocks to African Union integration. We wish to also congratulate the Republic of Burundi for assuming the speakership of Eala 5 with the recent election of the current speaker, Right Honorable Joseph Ntakirutimana, which is a clear demonstration of the trust and confidence the members of the community, members, representatives have in him, and in particular, the leadership of the Republic of Burundi. We assure you, Excellency, our continued support to our Speaker as he steers the Assembly to greater heights. Your Excellency, the President, allow me to bring to your attention a few structural challenges our Assembly is grappling with. I know many have touched on them. In Kirundi and Kinyarwanda, they say, Nyakubahwa ngwaryoha asubiwamo. So it's good to repeat sometimes for emphasis. So the first challenge, as already alluded to, is the issue of funding. Your Excellency, the community of East Africa is growing, both in membership. In 2000, we had only 3 East African countries, Uganda, Kenya, and United Republic of Tanzania. As we speak today, we have 7 partner states. And that also implies that we are covering a population of close to 300 million peoples. So as people's representatives, we have to traverse across the region to sensitize the community about EAC and Eala's work. But Excellency, if you would know that today we are only holding 4 plenaries, and the plenary is 14 days. So if you times 4, that means it's only 56 days in a year, and yet you are paid as members of parliament to serve East Africa and the entire year. So for over 205 days, we are just seated at home in a holiday. We say no, we are here to work. So Your Excellency, through your leadership, as a person who is really passionate about people's representatives, as the chairperson of the summit, we kindly request you that you look into this matter so that Eala is fully facilitated, that at least we can have 6 plenaries of 21 days, at least 126 days, and then we can rest, or not even resting, through the committees, as you rightly said, Your Excellency, at least 7 days per committee for 4 activities. And then we shall know that we are truly serving the peoples of East Africa in discharging our core mandate of passing legislation for fast-tracking integration, of representing our people, and also of holding our governments accountable. There is also need for partner states to ensure timely remittance of the annual contribution and expediting the establishment of sustainable funding mechanism. Your Excellency, we are happy that the summit have taken up this issue. We wish you could use the approach the African Union used, where the summit member is the one who leads on sustainable funding mechanism. We believe leadership at that level will help us achieve sustainable funding mechanism as a community. There is also the issue that has already been talked about, the administrative and financial autonomy. Again, Your Excellency, just one example. As we speak here, because Eala doesn't have the autonomy to hire its staff, the Speaker right now doesn't have a personal assistant. Sorry, those are details, but that shows you. So he has to carry files everywhere he goes, because the hiring of personal assistants has to go to the Council of Ministers, and that has also really made it difficult for Eala to work, to be able to hire its staff, to be able to manage its funds, but also to have the capacity of mobilizing its resources. Finally, Your Excellency, the President, the issue of treaty amendment was also talked about. We think this is urgent. The treaty was enacted when there were only 3 partner states. Principles of consensus and quorum were easy by that time, but it might be difficult when you are 7 and in future probably 8. The issue of language that was talked about, and many other areas. So these are the reasons why we believe that this has to be fast-tracked, and with your leadership, Your Excellency, this will be very easy. Your Excellency, we also have a challenge of the delaying of assent of EAC bills. We take a lot of time to pass bills, but when they come to the attention of the summit, very few of these bills, in particular the private member bills, in most cases are not passed, and yet they would change the livelihoods of our people. Your Excellency, the President of the Republic, I'm delighted to recognize the presence of our former 4th Eala colleagues from the Republic of Burundi, who successfully concluded their tour of duty, and we do hope they will continue serving this great nation in various capacities. As I conclude, Your Excellency, I wish to reiterate our commitment to delivering on the East African Legislative Assembly cardinal function in furthering EAC objectives through its legislative, representative, and oversight mandate. I take this opportunity to thank you once again, Your Excellency, for your unwavering support and commitment to EAC integration, and appeal to you as the chairperson of the EAC Summit of Heads of State to assist Eala in addressing the pending challenges, thereby enabling the Assembly to effectively deliver on its mandate. The EAC address, Your Excellency, you have eloquently delivered, will guide our plenary, and we shall have time to debate on this very important address. Let me conclude by saying once again, let's strive to build a community of one people and one destiny. I thank you very much for your kind attention.
Thank you, Honorable. We are now reaching the end. But before I adjourn this activity, we will have a photo with His Excellency, the President of the Republic, at the entrance of this house. We also have a cocktail in the main hall of this house. I adjourn this meeting for Tuesday, 4th of April at 2:30 p.m.
The anthems in reverse order, stand up for the anthems.